My name is Dewey James Moore Sr. I am 35 years old. I grew up in foster care my whole life. I have a son, he'll be 11 this year. I am a combat veteran with the Marines. I spent 5 years in the Marines. After I was in the Marines, I went into the Oregon Army National Guard. I went in the Marines in 2000 as a field radio operator. I had never imagined going into combat. Then 9/11 happens. Within about 3 minutes of getting into Fallujah, we had broken a water tower, and I remember driving through some water, and I opened my door and 2 dead people go floating by. In the meanwhile, there's bullets hitting the Humvee. I really thought I was going to die. I told God I'd let me live. I told him I'd promise. I told God I'd promise to live a good life. So I'm gonna go through and uphold that promise. After I got out of the Marines and got my honorable discharge, my soul, it felt like a jigsaw puzzle had been thrown all over the place. I just felt lost. I went through counseling for a couple of years. One day I planted some seeds. They're flowers, they're called 4 o'clocks. When I went through and I'd planted those seeds, I felt like that jigsaw puzzle that was my soul started to come back together. That's some good stuff. I love the feel of that. It feels like my hands are getting a massage. Feels like my whole soul is getting massaged. That's why I started to get into gardening. It feels like I'm healing up. I started getting involved with the Klamath Sustainable Community Gardens about 3 years ago. There's a garden down the street from my house, and I called them up and told them I wanted a plot, asked them, if they had any plots available. They said yes. The next year, I asked if they needed a manager, if they needed any help with that, and they said, yeah, of course. People that usually don't see each other or talk to each other, they seem to get along around plants. Plants are wonderful. I've taught the Seed to Supper classes in Chiloquin, Oregon, in Beatty, Oregon, and Klamath Falls. What I like about teaching is when people come in saying, wow, I planted these seeds and they're growing. Look how big this plant is. Look how beautiful it is. My son has been to almost all the Seed to Supper courses I've taught, and he even has been through a full 80-hour course of permaculture design with me.
This is stevia. It's really, really sweet. My dad said it's 300 times sweeter than sugar, so it tastes really nice.
Yes, and that is one way I have a deep connection and deep bond with my son is through gardening. If we all went through and gardened and grew food together and ate food together, it seems like the world would be much happier, because there's a lot of energy that goes into bringing a plant into the world and taking care of it, watering it, fertilizing it, and harvesting and preparing it. That feels very nourishing to my soul. And I think that's why I'll be doing it for the rest of my life. If it wasn't for gardening, I don't think I would be here right now. You were ready to die in combat, and once you get out, you feel like you're still ready to die. But now I'm more ready to live.